Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility in the co-captain's chair, Mr. Chris Sallow. What's happening, my friend? How are you?
What's going on, Pete? Thanks, as always, for having me.
Thanks for coming. Pleasure to have you, as always. And especially today is Black Sabbath Day here on the channel. So we've got some brand new reissues out. Of course, everybody has been talking about Black Sabbath this and Black Sabbath that. Over the last couple of months, we had the Volume 4 little box set that came out. Now we've got Heaven and Hell and the Mob Rules yet again. So Rich, I was going to say Rich Catino. No, that's
next.
That's coming up next. Yeah, sorry. Chris and I have had these for a little bit. In fact, I bought mine from Rock Fantasy from Steve Keeler. And yeah, we figured we'd give you a little review show. And these are the double disc CD versions. They come out in all sorts of configurations. So, you know, and again, the theme of this is, and we were kind of talking about before we went on the air, it's like, you know, how many times have we purchased these albums over the course of the last 30 years. I mean, this is not the first time that these two albums have been reissued. It's not the first time that catalog has been reissued. I've purchased Black Sabbath albums on CD numerous times over the years, and again, have done it again. So I'll have Chris, why don't we start with Heaven and Hell? Okay.
Well, actually, I was going to say, speaking of the numerous times, I do have my the other versions. Maybe I'll start with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yep, that's fine.
So these were the original, of course, Pete and I have the albums and cassettes, like you said, of those earlier pressings. But these were the first CDs I got in the 80s from Warner Brothers. I did have Ronnie James Dio autograph my my Mob Rules album. So those were from Warner Brothers in the 80s. These were from Castle. These were released in the 90s, I think.
Yep.
They were remastered and they had nice pictures, but nothing else. Then I guess this is technically only 9 songs from the 2 records, but the Black Sabbath, the Dio years, so it's literally half of both Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell. Up to these versions, this is from the Rules of Hell box set,
yep,
which came out in 2008, I want to say. This is the promo copy that they sent to magazine people. And then this was the actual box set that those 2 discs came from. And it was just Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules, Live Evil, and Dehumanizer, no bonus material, and just some liner notes. And then this is where it gets a little weird, because in 2010, Universal put out these double disc deluxe versions of Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell, which are very similar to what we've got, and that leads us to the brand new versions of I never know which way to hold this. Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules, which are also available on vinyl, and at the moment are very rare because they they underestimated how many people wanted the vinyl. But I think they're going to press some more. And
well, that seems to have been the case throughout, like COVID-19. I mean, they just have not been pressing a lot of vinyl of anything.
Yeah, Steve from Rock Fantasy tells us that a lot.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Yeah. So I guess the question is, and again, this is Rhino, right? The question is, how necessary is it to get these, right? I mean, there have always, throughout their history, and we're not just talking Black Sabbath, we're talking about every other big band that has released all these versions. They try to entice you with remastered sound. They try to entice you with, remixes. They entice you with live tracks. They entice you with bonus tracks. They entice you with books and posters and all this kind of stuff. And, for the everyday person, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
The collector, like you and I, every little bit of extra thing you toss at us is a reason to buy again. So
100%.
Here we have these, and again, maybe Chris, well, I'll do a little show and tell, and maybe you can talk about what we get. We'll start with Heaven and Hell, what we get extra on here, and what makes this so different. So
okay, yeah, I was going to say this. This is the newest remaster, and I did compare this version of the 8 tracks of Heaven and Hell to the previous ones, including specifically the 2010 remaster and I listened to these both in my garage on my nice surround sound receiver with my speakers and everything in stereo, but then I also purposely listened to it in the car. And there is a noticeable difference in the sound and the volume. This new version is by far the loudest version. And I know there's a lot of debate.
People don't like loud. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people don't like loud because you're screwing it up, you're crushing the other things. So the booklet is awesome. I love that it has old newspaper footage from 1980. As far as the bonus tracks go, this version, which was the 2010 version, it had the Children of the Sea, which was a live B-side. Then it had a live B-side for Heaven and Hell. That was I think it's a rehearsal. And then it had the Lady Evil mono edit off the 7-inch. And then there was 4 tracks from Hartford, which was recorded for the a radio broadcast, which was Neon Nights, Children of the Sea, Heaven and Hell, and Die Young. So that was the 2010 version. The 2021 version is the exact same thing, but it adds 4 live bonus tracks from the live at Hammersmith Odeon in 1982. Now, to me, this is
3 dates. So they took like select tracks.
Actually, I think it was actually 4 dates.
The 4 dates? Yeah, it could be 4.
Right. December 31st, January. Oh, maybe it's only 3 dates. I thought it was 4. But anyway, to me, the inclusion of those tracks is completely fucking pointless because any Sabbath fan would have the actual Black Sabbath Live at the Hammersmith Odeon 1982 album. But if you didn't, or you missed it, because this one from Warner Brothers and Rhino was kind of a rare pressing. Well, which version was it? This one in 2010, was it this one? No. Shit, where did it go, Pete?
Chris has so many versions, he can't even keep track of what's on.
Right, here it is. It's this one. This one has this one duplicates the same disc from live at Hammersmith 1982. So I'm like, wait, anybody would probably have those 4 tracks. So that part really bummed me out. The live tracks from Hartford are really good. Now, this came out not that long ago, and I really liked it. This is Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hartford. I've had the Hartford show on bootleg for years, but this is the entire FM recording, and it's a really good recording. Now, on Heaven and Hell, the remaster, the sound quality is louder and clearer, but it bums me out because this is the whole set. This only has 4 songs. I'm like, if you would have cut the 4 songs from the Hammersmith, you could have fit more on here. But then what bums me out even more is that on disc 1 of the Heaven and Hell remaster, it's only the 8 actual songs, which is like 35, 40 minutes. CDs hold 80 minutes. So Rhino left 40 minutes of blank space on disc 1.
What they could have done is the 3 tracks that kick off disc 2, which is the live B side, the 2 live B sides, the 7-inch. You tack that onto the end of disc 1 on the,
and then you have a whole disc,
and then release on disc 2. Do a whole freaking show, right? Or whatever, because
they could have put the remastered version of the whole Hartford show on disc 2, and that would have given fans more for their money. 4
tracks from each of these different shows, basically the same songs, is absolutely ridiculous.
That's a great point.
That's why I think this really, out of the 2 of them, this is the least noteworthy one of the 2.
Yes, 100%. And then the other thing that we really do need to mention is within the last couple of weeks, Jeff Nichols' stepson released to the internet not 1 but 2 rehearsal tracks. He did a 1979 live rehearsal of the song Heaven and Hell with Jeff Nichols on bass, and it's very different. Like the second half of the song is completely different. And then he also released an MP3 of a song called Slapback, which supposedly is Ronnie on bass. And it's a very it sounds like a Rainbow track to me. But hearing these two songs, and they sound very clear, and they're just songs that this guy pulled off his stepfather's audio cassettes, drives me nuts, because I'm like, holy shit, why aren't those on there? And guess what? What else is on that guy's tape and Tony Iommi's tapes that should be on here? If you're making me buy this for the 5th or 6th time, can you give me something I don't already have?
Yeah.
Because technically, everything on these 2 CDs has already been released.
Yep.
So you're 100% right, Pete. If you can, comparing the two, if you can only buy one, buy the Mob Rules. This is crushingly disappointing, because they're giving us ice in the winter.
Yeah, I just think it's completely pointless to give 4 tracks from each of these 2 live shows, and basically you're giving us like the same songs twice.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, and it's crying out loud. If you're going to do that, then give 4 different songs. I mean, it's just,
I mean, the only thing I thought of, and I'm like, I don't even know if they're that. I was like, okay, are they trying to get us to notice the difference between Bill Ward's drumming and Vinny Appice's drumming? I don't know. But you're right. To hear the same 4 and then the same 4 again from a different show, and me being, a collector of live shows and bootlegs, I'm like, man, to have the whole set would be great. Yeah. But to just keep repeating songs, especially since we've already got them, it's a total waste.
Yep. In saying that, the Heaven and Hell album itself sounds really good here.
It does. It sounds great. The best it's ever sounded. I mean, I compared it to all the other versions, and it wasn't anything scientific. I just set the level and then would swap the discs and be like, oh yeah, no, everything sounds way lower. Now, I'm not an audio expert, so I don't know if levels on anything were crushed or whatever, but if you want it to sound louder and clearer and a little brighter, because album to album, the Heaven and Hell album, certainly the production is slightly flatter than on the Mob Rules record.
Yep, totally agree. Same guy producing both albums, Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Martin Birch. So speaking about Mob Rules, so let's move on to that.
Yep.
One. So here we have it. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to show it off. I'll do the little show. Chris will do the tell here. So here we have the Digipack, very similar setup here.
Yep. Again, the book and the packaging is very nice. Again, it's excuse me, the loudest sounding version of Mob Rules yet. But what they did right on this one was we've got the entire Mob Rules album, and then they put, 4 bonus tracks that they squeezed in onto disc 1. They did and I guess the thinking was to make these the definitive versions. So they have the Mob Rules version from the heavy metal album, the live version of Die Young, which was a B-side of the Mob Rules single. And then the most interesting track is a 2021 remix of the title track, The Mob Rules, which
sounds amazing.
Sounds very cool. It's very different.
Yep.
It's got, I guess it's Vinny doing a count in. It definitely sounds like they used the vocal from the 1981 heavy metal version. The drums and the vocals are definitely louder and in your face. There's a lot of effects. It sounds super cool. And I loved it and hated it at the same time, because I'm like, okay, you're telling me you remixed only the one track?
Yeah.
You couldn't have remixed the whole record?
Right.
And given us that too, like Deep Purple used to do?
If they could have easily made this a 3-disc set, we would have paid for it and have the 3rd disc be remixed version of the entire album, right?
100%. 100%. So then disc 2, we have 1, 2, starts off with 4 tracks off of the again, live at Hammersmith Odeon, which if you're a Sabbath fan, you already have it on here and on here. So why they felt the need to duplicate them again here, I don't know. But then the crown jewel of this disc is The first couple tracks that close out disc 1 is live from the Portland Memorial Coliseum, April 22nd, 1982. Long story short, it's a full, complete recording of Sabbath on the Mob Rules album. It starts on the end of disc 1, and then it fills up all of disc 2, and it is phenomenal. I mean, I compared it, of course, to Live Evil, which is a great record, but never sounded great, and compared it to Live at Hammersmith, which everybody raved how this was so much better than Live Evil. To just my opinion, I think Live in Portland is better than Live at Hammersmith, because Live at Hammersmith is a duller, tinnier recording. This thing sounds so loud and full.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Blew my mind.
I think it's better than Live Evil, but it's the second best live recording from this band from that era I ever heard.
Definitely. I mean, it just sounds killer. Like I noticed too that the keyboards are noticeably louder on a couple songs like Neon Nights and Mob Rules. But my thinking was, well, listen, if that's how the band sounded that night, that's how I want to hear it.
Yes.
And I thought it was cool that it sounded, a little weird with the really loud Jeff Nichols keyboards, but it was cool to hear. Yeah. I'm glad that they used up the space that they did on disc 1. So yeah, it's actually, let's see. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's like 10 bonus tracks on disc 1 alone. Now think of what they could have done if they had 10 extra bonus tracks on Heaven and Hell. Yeah. The interesting thing, and I don't know if you remember this, Pete, but I know in the 80s, for some reason, Tony Iommi always used to say in interviews, the stuff we threw out for Mob Rules was actually better than the stuff we put on the record. So I'm like, okay, so where is that?
Show it, prove it.
Where is the songs that is not on here? But then him and Ronnie were totally contradictory in 2007 when they did the Dio Years record, that best of, because when they did this, because apparently the record company wanted unreleased tracks, and they were like, everything we had sucked, so we'll just write you some new ones. So who knows what to believe, but that's
you almost think that Tony was kind of downplaying that whole era already because he had moved on to the next thing. He's like
100%. 100%. And you just mentioned it, Pete, about it being 3 discs. I was definitely going to add to that because and I know we just did the dream set list, my dream remaster for these, they would be, especially because Paranoid and Volume 4 both came out in 4-disc sets. These could have easily been 3-disc sets, and I would have loved it if one of the discs was a DVD. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I bought this 4 times of the Black and Blue movie. This is the original Japanese VHS tape from the 80s. My dad paid like $250 for this in 1987. And I have the Japanese Laserdisc. I have the 2007 Blue DVD, which was pulled off the market. And I also have Black and Blue. I have the original 35 millimeter theatrical film print. But man, they should have put that as, obviously not the BOC set, but put the Sabbath stuff on here. And of course, on Mob Rules, man, come out with whatever Live Evil footage that you have, because it's been 40 years. And at this point, we're never going to see it. I don't think.
Yeah, release it before you're all gone already. For crying out loud, right?
What are they sitting on? I mean, to me, it's totally insane that the Heaven and Hell thing was so hot and that they didn't do it back then. Come out with the old footage, because that would have sold great.
Yeah.
And listen, realistically, Pete, we're at the end of physical media. This is like there was 10 years in between, this version and the new version. I don't know if we're ever going to get another version of Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules released.
I don't know. But here's the thing, in saying all that, look what we just went through with the Volume 4 box set that came out. They couldn't keep that thing in stock anywhere.
Yep.
With UFO Strangers in the Night box set, you couldn't find that. They had to keep printing more of them. So
Yeah.
I think there's enough people out there who still want this stuff.
I hope I'm wrong. Listen, because
I
if
hope
they
so too, right? Yeah.
I don't listen, they could put out with 6 more versions before I die. I'm buying all 6. I don't care what they put on it. I just would really like you, we'd like something that we don't have.
Yeah.
Like this remix track was great.
Yeah.
And you telling me the guy that remixed it only did the 1 track? Come on, he must have done the whole thing. There's probably the other 8 tracks are lying around
We're
somewhere.
gonna save it for the next box set, like 2 years.
Totally. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and and this is another thing I didn't like about all this. It's like, all right, so they put these 4 Hammersmith songs on here, right? Like you said,
Right.
we don't get the full show. And then you put a few more on this one.
Yeah.
But you don't, between the two, you don't have the full show. So it's almost like they're trying to get you. Well, you have to, if you're really that into it and you don't have that show already, you got to buy both, but they're not giving you the whole thing.
Totally, which was my point of, well, screw the Hammersmith and put the whole Hartford show.
Yeah.
Because, Hammersmith already got released twice.
Yeah.
Hartford is only on bootleg.
Yep. Yep.
And that's a great show because it's a full set of Sabbath with Bill Ward,
Yep.
which, there's not a lot out there. But I really love the Portland set, especially because for whatever reason, as far as bootlegs go, there was a lot of good quality bootleg recordings of Sabbath on the Heaven and Hell tour, but much less on the Mob Rules tour for whatever reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was really cool that now there's technically 3 official live releases from the Mob Rules record.
Yep. Yep. I will say they both sound really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this was, I know we both differ a little bit on how we view these, but this one is always my slight favorite over this. But I think this has always been the better sounding album.
Yes.
And with this remaster sounds immense on
Yeah.
them. I mean, they both sound spectacular. So,
and to be honest, you and I are being somewhat critical because we have multiple versions. If you've never bought these records, good God, they've never sounded or looked better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely truth. Yeah. And and then there's probably going to be a ton of people out there who are just like us who will buy every single one of these that comes out, and will be just as critical as us because we want the best ever versions of
right.
them. And you said it right before, these albums have never sounded better. But if you're going to put bonus stuff on there, do it the right way.
Stop giving us stuff we've already got.
Right. And I love the packaging. I think these are great digipacks. They got all sorts of cool stuff in here. The booklets are great.
Great photos of the singles and all that
absolutely.
stuff. Tour books.
But would I give either of these like a 10 out of 10?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's
I mean,
tough,
I really,
yeah.
Maybe I'd give Mob Rules a 9 just because I'm so enamored with having an unbelievably, a great recording, another great recording of Sabbath on the Mob Rules tour.
Yeah. Yeah. This one is as close to absolute perfection as you're going to get in a reissue. Yeah. This one, I think the album itself sounds great. Yeah, the live stuff is cool, but again, they're not reinventing the wheel here. And I think this was a little bit of a missed opportunity. But I still think they're both,
absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have them than not have them. It's just, for me and you, we can bitch about, okay, Jesus, especially when, hearing the tapes from Jeff Nichols going, oh my God, what is out there on these 2 records that you're not giving us?
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to get us to sell it again.
I think, a lot of these rock stars, they think, well, we don't want to include some of that like session stuff we did because it's not perfect. It's not finished. We don't care.
Yeah.
Like to us, that's like holy grail stuff, right?
100%. I mean, I remember one of the interviews I did with Tony Iommi briefly mentioning and I forget what it was called, the Deep Purple something society, where they were just putting everything out, which I thought was the coolest thing. Because if you want it, you buy it. If you don't want it, don't buy it.
Buy it, yeah.
And he was just saying he had everything. He's like, oh, I got tapes of everything, every singer, every lineup, and I'm like, but to put it out. out. What are you waiting for? What, you're gonna die, and Maria from Drain STH is then gonna hopefully fucking try and sell this stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Nichols' stepson should have done what Cozy Powell's girlfriend did. She sold all the tapes to Japanese bootleggers, and then they pressed everything, and at least everybody got to hear it.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see. Hey, maybe we'll get next. I can only dream, but maybe we'll
Born Again.
We'll get Born Again remixed.
That would be great.
With that full live show again from, what was that, from the Reading or Donington? One of the
yes.
Two?
That was the Reading Festival.
Reading Festival, the Castle reissue.
But there's also that awesome one that they did in Worcester in '84 that has Neon Nights.
That too, with those couple bonus tracks that didn't make the original album.
Yeah.
I think the Castle remaster was great.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, still needs a remix, but I think the remastered sound was very, very good. The live stuff was awesome. I love that reissue. I think they did a great job on that. But maybe they'll do that. Maybe they won't. I don't know.
Fingers crossed. I mean,
are there enough people that care about Born Again out there? I don't know.
But the interesting thing I just heard, and I apologize because I can't remember the name of the. It was like the New Metal Review or something like that. Just did an interview with Tony for these reissues. And he said that he was listening to a lot of material for like future box sets. And I'm like, okay. So like which one's going to be next? Because they all seem so random.
Yeah. Like, why did they just do like volume 4 and then do this?
Right. Like, why did you do Paranoid, but you didn't do the first record or Master Reality, but then did volume 4? Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Well, we'll just have to, and we've heard that he has been talking to Tony Martin.
Yep.
And he might be doing some stuff with those albums. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly there's still the one that's supposedly still in the works is a Forbidden remix, because Forbidden sounds terrible. Hell, I have that. Speaking of Cozy Powell, I have the bootleg that his girlfriend sold to the Japanese bootleggers. I can't remember the name, but it's got a guy and a pilot in a plane. But it's the rough mix of Forbidden, which I think sounds better than the actual record.
No doubt. Well, we'll wait and see. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Wait and see. So there you have it, everybody. Reviews of these two things. Pretty cool. Like whether you feel you need them or not, that's up to you.
Absolutely.
If you're a big fan and you like to collect everything they release, you probably need to get them. You probably already have them. So obviously we didn't waste much time going out and getting those, and I don't regret it. I think one could have been maybe a little bit better as far as the bonus stuff. The other one, Mob Rules, is pretty damn spectacular.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all damn time. So for Chris Allo, I am Pete Pardo. We'll see you guys this week. Don't forget Hudson Valley Square is coming up tomorrow night, as well as in the Prague seat coming up on Tuesday, and all sorts of stuff happening the rest of the week. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you later on. Bye-bye.